We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a live edition of Vikings Uncensored. Due to a little bit of a scheduling conflict, our guests that we were supposed to have on this week couldn't make it. We're working on getting them on here in the near future. So we will have that coming to you as soon as we get it figured out. We'll let you guys know. But so we figured we'd go live since there's a little bit of stuff to talk about. Start out. Evening, Doc.
Brett Weir has a good question to start out with right here, right now.
Has Dalvin landed anywhere yet? Not to my knowledge, Brett. I just checked Twitter before we came on, and nothing as of yet. So I don't think so. Mr. Bad Vintage, hello, Ken. Worthless Opinion, as always, great to have you here. Brett, of course.
Ken Williams, first time I've seen him in here.
Ken was on the other night.
Oh, nice.
I forget if it was Rhino's Rants or if it was on Under the Lights where I talked.
It was on Rants. I went through the comments there afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And then, of course, Bacon Bear Hair, also known as the Pantheon. What's up, Ole?
Big Dugan
Ray,
fan.
Doc, everybody, thank you for joining. But since Brett posed the question right away, let's just jump right on into that Dalvin Cook situation. Of course, came out yesterday. The Vikings finally put a deadline on the whole Cook saga, that he would be released by 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. Central Time today if a trade partner had not been found. As of noon, no trade chatter had been taking place, so they officially released him. I believe it was like at 12:03 or something like that this afternoon.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to get any compensation for the kid, but you know what? We need that cap space. We do. If you want to make things happen, we need that space. And
Yep. I mean, by releasing him, we do clear $9 million in cap space. Would have been 11 if we'd been able to trade him, but Ken had to move him into cap space. Exactly what we're
exactly. If you want to make the players that are gonna be on the team for the next 3 or 4 years happy, we needed that cap space more than we needed Dalvin.
Yep. I won't take Dalvin long before he gets with the team. No, I don't think
That's
so either,
right.
Ray. I'm guessing probably by the end of the weekend he'll be somewhere.
By the sounds of it, there's been 5 or 6 teams interested in him since this whole conversation about Cook not being in Minnesota has been going on anyways.
Yeah, they just basically didn't want to take on his full contract, which they would have had to done in the trade. So wait till he becomes a free agent, which he now is, and then see if they can get him at a more of a discount price. Been getting a kick out of watching the national pundits and all that other stuff. The same people that, and Christopher Gates from Daily Norseman had posted this earlier today. The national media is out there losing their minds about the Vikings releasing Cook, something that we all knew was a distinct possibility for the last 4 months. But this is the same group of people who, not 6 months ago were saying that the Vikings were frauds and basically garbage, but yet now they're bitching that we've gotten rid of all of our big name players.
What are you doing? Getting rid of everybody. Stay the same. But then they weren't happy last year when we were going out and winning 13 games in the season. So
right. Welcome, Joe. Buffalo will grab him and hit the league each week with the Cook brothers. That's a distinct possibility.
See, I don't see Cook going to Buffalo and taking snaps away from his little brother. That's the one thing that gets me there.
Yeah, that is the one hang up. But the two of them playing together is also alluring to him, I guess.
I like that, Ken. Yes, you do. You got to get younger at some point. You do.
Yeah,
you could just tell by watching this team last year that numerous players that were playing had lost a step or two.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. People are losing their minds over what how Kwesi is handling this offseason. We knew that it was going to be a bit painful. There was going to have to be some very unpopular decisions made.
Absolutely.
But it's stuff that needs to be done to get us out from underneath that.
And then it's come to the territory of the position as well. You need somebody that's going to go in there and make the right decisions regardless of what everybody else thinks they are.
Yep. Hey, Justin. Good evening. Ant, welcome. Curious to see what Dalvin will get. Yeah, I am too, to be honest with you. Worthless opinion. He's not good. I don't think he's going to get what he would have gotten.
Around $5 million a year is my guess.
I think he probably.
That's the high end. That's the high end for him as well.
I think he probably gets 7 or 8 personally. He's not going to get that 10 to 12, but I think he'll probably get in that 7, 7.5, somewhere in that range, probably. But anyway.
Speaking of contracts.
Yes, with the Dalvin Cook situation now finally resolved, we can move on to the next one. And this is another one that the national media and everybody's going gaga over. Now,
we're not shopping him. We're not shopping this guy, but we're fielding calls about this guy.
This shows, again, the hypocrisy of the national sports media. In one breath, they're ripping the Vikings for getting rid of their players, and then 3 seconds later, they're out there saying, "Where's Danielle Hunter going to go? Where's this?" We'll get that extra $2 million back after he signs because of the offset. Yeah, I did see that this afternoon, Justin. That's a good point.
Very good point.
He might not get signed until a team loses a running back to injury. And he'll be signed within the next week at the very longest. I wouldn't be surprised.
He'll definitely be signed sooner than later, in my opinion, as well.
Yep. The longer he stays unsigned, the less he gets. Yep. Love me some Hunter, and I do too, Doc. And the fact that Zadarius Smith was moved, I don't see the Vikings moving Danielle Hunter unless they get some sort of an offer that just blows them out of the water.
And that involves a first rounder, at least, in my opinion.
If I'm sitting there and you're not calling with at least a first rounder and probably another 3rd round pick, don't even call me. But
now we have the cap to make an extension possible. With Hunter, with Jefferson. I don't know if we have enough to extend Hawk as well, but now we have some wiggle room to make some things happen.
And the thing of it, Hawk's cap hit right now is at that like $9.5 million because of the 5th year option. You can probably finagle some of that stuff around, put a little signing bonus in this year.
That says enough right there too. So
he's here.
That we really have to worry about at this point.
Is this a rebuild or a reload? More starters gone this year than any year I'm aware of. Personally, Joe, this is that competitive rebuild that they talked about. We're jettisoning these old, extremely highly paid starters and getting younger while still trying to stay competitive. I mean, for the most part, the offense is remaining what it was last year. Other than swapping out Adam Thielen,
first time in a long time this has happened,
Jordan Addison,
the offense has stayed the course.
Yeah,
and we brought somebody in defensively that is a complete upgrade over who we had here last year as well.
Yeah.
Flores is going to make things a lot better for us defensively.
Yep. Mr. Bad Vintage, don't forget Darisaw. The thing with Darisaw, we still have a couple of years before we have to worry about him. He's just going into his third year now.
Right.
And by the time he comes up for an extension, that new TV deal is going to be into effect, which is supposed
next
to
year we're looking pretty heavy gravy. Yeah, next year we're looking pretty good as far as salary cap goes. Yep.
So, Brother Dave with a good point here. Kwesi mishandled Cook and Za'Darius. He should have let them go in March. If he would have released them then, wouldn't have had to push some of Cousins' money into next year. It's a fair point.
And in Kwesi's defense, he's still learning the ins and outs of his area of expertise on this team at the GM position.
Yeah. Well, and the thing we have to remember too is Kwesi's way of thinking is such a departure from what we've been used to for the last 16 years with Rick Spielman, because Kwesi looks with the ones and the zeros and the analytics and dollars and cents, not, favorite players that we have to keep around no matter the cost and that kind of stuff.
Mr. Bad Vantage here has a good one.
Yeah, we'll just hit that one here. Curious how long McCardle and Flores sticks around. It's possible Flores is one and done.
I've heard that Flores might stick around until after his case has went through against the NFL. So that opens up another year for him as well then.
Right. But the thing of it is, if Flores is one and done, it means he did an exceptional job in turning this defense around.
That's a great point, Rhino. Absolutely.
Some will not like this up, but if they trade Hunter, they should just trade Cousins and go full rebuild. I don't think they're not trading Hunter. Justin, I would be shocked. Like I said, it would have to be an offer that would blow us away. Now Doogie Wolfson, that rolls us into Doogie Wolfson was on Mackey and Judd or Purple Daily, whichever one it was at Mackey and Judd, I think, day or two ago. And Doogie's pretty well connected with inside the Vikings organization.
Absolutely.
He said that the leak about the Vikings fielding or receiving trade calls for Danielle Hunter did not come out of TCO.
Oh, wow.
So it was not the Vikings that leaked that. So he said that means one of two things. Either some team is trying to push the narrative to get the Vikings to trade him.
Do you think somebody on Hunter's team might have leaked that?
Or more likely it's somebody on Danielle Hunter's camp that's not happy that they haven't got a contract done yet. So they leaked it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
David with another thing here. If we extend Cousins next year, do we not only have to pay him for 2024, but also the money we push from this year to next year? I'm not convinced that we're re-signing Cousins next year.
I'm not sold on that yet either.
Because Kirk wants a 3-year deal. The team doesn't want to do that.
I think this is his last ride here in Minnesota, honestly.
I do too.
Believe 2023 is his last ride in Minnesota. And then we either switch over to Hall or to be determined the quarterback of the future.
Well, I mean, it's been documented, and by well-informed sources that the Vikings were going to do what they could to trade up to number 2 to get Bryce Young if Carolina did not take him at number 1. So if they were going to do that for Young, they definitely could have that in their pocket.
If you're willing to do that
to be doing it for Caleb Williams, Drake May, or one of those guys next year. So Justin, nothing short of a first for Hunter. A single first round pick is not enough for me.
We need at least a first and a mid rounder. That would be nice.
Like I said earlier, my starting point is a first and a third. I won't even listen to anything less than that for starters.
Or a first next year and then a second the year after would be great.
Yeah. Ken brings up a point here. how is Hall looking? I watch all the BYU and Utah games. Very smart, can move, pocket, sees defense really well, does not panic under pressure.
And he can make every throw, and he makes strong throws too.
That kind of rolls us into the. We'll answer this in just 1 second. There's one other news thing I kind of wanted to hit. Wrap up the Hunter thing here quick. By all accounts, the Vikings want Danielle Hunter back. They're not trying to trade him. So the only way a trade is going to happen is if either they come to an impasse where they cannot agree on some sort of a contract, or, like I said earlier, somebody comes in and blows our doors off 2 first-round picks or something like that, or a first and a second-round pick, like Lance just mentioned.
And then makes you an offer you can't refuse.
Right. Then one other quick note, news-wise, of course, tight end Ben Ellefson retired last week.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it was announced that he is actually staying with the team in a hybrid scout/coaching role for 2023. So that's kind of cool. He gets to move on towards the next chapter of his career. And
plus, you get to keep somebody from your offense around in the building that can kind of tutor these other guys as well in the room.
Right. Anthony Hunter hasn't hit his prime yet, in my opinion. That's why we got to keep him. I mean, he's going to be 28 years old or 29, 28 in October. So he's at his prime, but his prime is pretty damn good.
Right. And the fact that he's going into this new system as well, and but he started coming alive towards the end of last season as well in this system.
Right. And that was under
covering any receivers this year though.
That was, like I said, that was under Donatella. I think Flores would be able to absolutely unleash Hunter.
Yeah, that's a good chess piece for Flores to dink around with. Absolutely.
Yeah. Dave makes a good point here. Does Hunter even want to stay here? I haven't heard that he doesn't.
3-4. That's a good.
Yeah, that is a question, and that could be a sticking point, with contract negotiations too. But I guess we'll find out.
I mean, this edge group that we have is young and unproven outside of Hunter. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's still a question mark on Wanham and what he brings to the table. That hasn't been solved yet either. Patrick Jones, we've seen glimpses of greatness, of flashes, and
DJ Wanham he's going into last year of his rookie deal. We've got, of course, Andre Carter II, who by all accounts has been looking good in training camp. We'll talk about Carter here in a little bit. Marcus Davenport, who has shown flashes of high-level play throughout his career so far, but has also shown flashes of being not much of a player. So,
and this, once again, we go right back to Flores. This Flores, bringing Flores in as the DC is an outstanding move in the offseason. A very not spoke about enough thing that we did.
Yeah. Mr. Badvantage here. JJ contract would dictate where the money will go in the future with the clearing of future TV contracts coming up. Should we be more hopeful for 2024? I think so. They're going to try. They're not going to tank this year. They're going to try to win as much as they can. I think we stand a pretty good shot of making the playoffs anyway.
Our toughest competition in our division is going to be Detroit.
Yeah. I'm not concerned with Chicago, and I'm not concerned with Green Bay. But and the NFC is wide open. I mean, you've got the Eagles and the 49ers. Other than that,
Niners.
Yep. Clearing of the kick cans and such. Yep, that's
absolutely right.
Kwesi was left with an unenviable position of trying to get this crap straightened out after the garbage that we got left with from Spielman and Zimmer. I mean, it's going to take some time. There's going to be aches and pains.
We're seeing the seeds of KOC's and Kwesi's evolution as we speak, honestly. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. And it's, but we're getting younger at a lot of positions, the secondary, linebacker. I mean, Asamoah going in there over Kendricks. He's a lot faster. Is he going to make more mistakes than Kendricks? Probably to begin with. But
people complaining about us not being aggressive last year are going to really see a difference this year.
Yeah, and that's a perfect transition to go into a few OTA updates from this week. Of course, the final OTAs are done now. Mandatory camp is next week. Here's a note when you're talking about that passive stuff. Last year, the Vikings played cover 2 on 32.4% of dropbacks, which is most in the NFL.
Not surprising.
Yeah, but from 2019 to 2021, when Flores was the head coach in Miami, his defenses ran the least amount of cover 2 in the NFL.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man up. Disguise blitzes. It's gonna be a sight to see.
Yeah. With the extra money, could go after Dalton Reisner now. Reisner's on my wish list. I would like to see him come in and battle it out with Cleveland and Ingram, and see.
Ingram's another guy that got better though as the season went on.
He was starting to, yeah, and I think we're going to see a significant step forward by him this year.
He's somebody I expect a big jump out of.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of big jumps, though, with again back in the OTA stuff, Jalen Naylor has been lauded as the breakout player so far in OTAs, according to Will Raggets from Sports Illustrated. Of course, with Jefferson not being there and Addison being limited with a little bit of an injury, Naylor and KJ Osborne have been taking the lion's share, but they said Naylor has probably caught more passes in camp so far than anybody else on the team.
We've been singing Naylor's praises, though, since the end of last year.
Mm-hmm.
The dude had a 100-yard game against the Bears to end the year, a touchdown as well to go with that. I love the way he transitions after the catch and gets right upfield. I love it. And in my opinion, right now, a very viable number 4 receiver on this offense.
Yeah, and I think he's doing everything possible to cement himself in that number 4 role, and maybe makes KJ Osborne expendable because KJ's going into the last year of his deal. So, Osborne would be number 3 this year, of course, but if we can't afford to re-sign him next year, Naylor is sitting there waiting in the wings to move up, I think.
I agree.
Then otherwise, Andre Carter, who again we'll talk about here in a little while, but he's been getting some runs with the 2s at edge. And interestingly enough, he also changed his number to 55 now that Za'Darius is gone.
Oh, wow. Nice. Good number.
So, yep. Then Josh Metellus is being used all over in the back in the secondary, he said, rotating with Bynum at the other starting safety for right now. They're still working Lewis Seen back. He's running with the 2s right now. Doesn't mean anything other than the fact that Seen was out for 90% of the season.
That's very possible, Joe, as well.
Yeah. Naylor showed flashes last year. Reminds me of Diggs a lot. He's faster than Diggs, I think.
Oh, absolutely faster than Diggs, I believe. He is a deep threat, but I believe with his route running, if he could polish that some more, he's going to be a dangerous receiver, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, KJ's going to explode in the contract year with Addison and Jefferson out there. I could very easily see him have a very good season this year, which is why I brought up the point a minute ago about us maybe not being able to afford him when he becomes a free agent at the end of the year, because
exactly why a running back committee will work in this offense.
Mm-hmm. And do we think Pace will start next to Asamoah this year? Not right away.
Next year, but I look for Pace getting some playing time.
Pace will rotate in, I think, more on passing situations, or when you have to have some speed to cover. Hicks is going to be the starter next to him to start with.
I think Pace and Asamoah, though, are the future of our interior linebackers on this defense, though.
Yeah.
Unless Pace completely flops. But I think this young guy, as we'll see later on coming up here soon enough.
Yeah. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder, too. And if you remember back when there was talk that he was going to get drafted, third, fourth round, and then he ended up falling to us as an undrafted free agent. And
same thing with Carter too.
Yep. He posted on his Instagram page after we picked him up as a UDFA, says, y'all done fucked up now, or whatever. So he's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. So
this defense needs some of that attitude.
Yep. Dave asked a question here. The money we are under the cap, can we roll that extra money into next year? No. That's kind of a tough question. There's a little bit somehow or another that can be moved, I think, but I'm not quite sure how that works. But short answer, no, we can't. It's not like a bank account. We can't just save it for next year. But
yeah, that wide receiver room is pretty full at the moment, and there's nothing wrong with that. We got another guy that we're looking at. I'm glad that this staff is bringing people on to look at to get this team to get this depth chart right.
Scroll from Houston. Huh? Hey, all right. We got us across the country. We got California. We got Houston. We got out east. We got the whole country covered here at Vikings Uncensored. So offense is loaded, but got to keep our O-line depth behind. Got to keep Kirk safe. That's true. I mean,
and I think this O-line can take a step forward this year too, in my opinion. This is not an old line. This is a line that's still developing together.
Yeah, they're all 25 and under. The question for me is, okay, is what we saw out of Bradbury most of last year what he's going to be, or is he going to now that he got his contract, is he going to revert back to Bradbury again?
Or that back injury, is that back injury going to cause some sort of lingering effect on the way he plays as well?
Yeah, there's that too. And of course, we saw him when he came back in the playoff game. Dexter Lawrence ate his lunch. Not to mention the Philippine fan club. That's true. We're international as well. So, but anyway, since we've been talking about the rookies a little bit here, we're going to roll into part 4 of our Meet the Rookies segment, and we're going to start off talking about that linebacker, Ivan Pace Jr.
This guy gets my juices flowing, man. I love what I see.
The Cincinnati defense to really fall off.
Second down and long, and
the way they were talked about for not holding.
You're watching
Alabama.
Number 0 out here is Pace.
Number 0. That pass complete to Matt Landers. Now Jefferson takes a hit and
he's
great high school player. His brother,
the guy comes out like he's shot out of a cannon here.
Wound up at Miami of Ohio, starred there, and came over this season to play with his brother.
And he just beat a guy twice his size right there.
Yep. Ant, remind me, we'll bring that one up here in a little bit.
And he gave it away. Ball's loose, picked up by Jabari Taylor, and he'll rumble into the end zone.
Comes up with it.
The big knock on Pace is the size. But I mean,
90 gets
you
going
can talk
in the
about
right
size
direction.
all you want, but at the end of the day, it's the player that you're buying into. So,
I mean, you see there him
tackle for a loss,
blowing up into the hole. I mean,
he got a nose for the ball.
And that was some of the knock on him, was that he was kind of a one-trick pony. He's more of a pass rushing type guy. Now his pass rushing stuff is top notch.
I think his pass coverage is really underrated, in my opinion.
I do, yeah, I do too. And he kind of that Asamoah thing. If he does make a mistake, he's got the speed to recover.
Another guy that we used to have out of Cincinnati, who was it? Wilson, Eric Wilson.
Yeah.
Yep. He had a few good years here for us too, out of Cincy.
Bigger than that play right there.
0 should not be Davenport. Yeah, I agree, Dave. It should be Pace.
I know.
It's talking about coverage here. We just saw Pace and coverage on that when they're breaking up a pass.
Right. Put his hand up.
Blitz coming and they get to him.
Tackle for loss.
Beginning of this game.
Pace is kind of that. He's kind of got that. What we all thought we were going to see out of Anthony Barr kind of stuff. This is kind of.
You can see the motor the kid has with every play.
Yeah, he plays with just a.
Look at that! They say that this dude can't pass cover.
No, and he saw the pass there, and he just stopped and.
He does look small, Ken, but he plays big.
Yeah. He's like 5'10", I think that was part of the reason why he fell. He's because he's undersized, but
majority of the reason, in my opinion, is why he fell out of the draft.
But one thing you can't measure is heart.
No tackle for loss.
Look at John Randall. I mean, the guy literally wrapped chains under his sweatpants so he could make weight to be able to make rookie, make the cut at rookie camp.
This guy either.
On second down, Pratt's going to take off. And sandwich down inside the
he's coming up. Seems to be playing the run well in these spots here.
Eye black at that point. Your entire face is covered in eye black.
I believe he's going to be given every opportunity to get some snaps this year on defense.
I think so too. They're gonna. I mean, like I said earlier, Hicks is going to be the starter, but they're definitely going to rotate this kid in a bunch of sub packages, passing downs, things like that. I think.
And could play a huge part on special teams as well.
Yeah, there's that too. But and with Flores as aggressive as he is, unleashing this kid. You get the big guys up front to kind of open the holes and let him come flying in a delayed blitz or something.
Jordan now in motion in the backfield. Cincinnati shows pressure. They back out of it, bring just 4, but it gets enough and it gets to Doman.
I mean, look at him going against these linemen here. I mean, for him being undersized, I was shocked when he fell. An undrafted free agent.
A lot of people were. Him and Carter both. I was shocked that both of them fell out of the draft.
Yeah, because there were a couple of times when I actually saw Andre Carter at the tail end of the first, early second round in mock drafts.
Yeah.
And I think even one time somebody mocked him to us, if I remember right, when we did the mock.
It's funny because they're saying Pace is too small, but they're saying Andre Carter's too fucking big. Too wiry and tall.
Yeah.
That he doesn't have the bend to get around the edge. So, there's some knocks on both those guys that we're talking about tonight.
Right. So with that, we'll roll in and do the scouting report again from our friends over at the Draft Network on Ivan Pace. Brentley Weissman, has the write-up on Mr. Pace. He said, one of the most productive linebackers in college this past season was named to multiple All-American rosters. Pace is a heat-seeking missile who has a nose for the football. Aligns in the middle of the Bearcats' defense, appears to be the one making the calls. He has outstanding instincts for the position and seems to know where the ball is going on every single play. He's able to use those instincts as well as his explosive burst and short area quickness to shoot behind the line of scrimmage and make tackles for loss.
We've seen a lot of those in that last little video clip.
Above average range and sideline to sideline flashes as a tackler. While Pace offers exciting playmaking ability as a run defender due to his ability to shoot the gaps, he lacks the length and mass to consistently fight off blocks in the box. Too often he's covered up by guards working through the second level, cannot fight off the block. His energetic and active play style results in a bunch of overrun plays where he leaves room for cutback lanes from the ball carriers. That's something we heard. Right. And we heard that about Asamoah last year too. But
I think, David, Carter's more close to 6'7", 6'8", honestly, as far as height goes.
Yeah, I didn't write down what his measurables, but anyway, back to Pace. In coverage, he's a good athlete with quickness to stay connected in man and instincts to know where to get into the zone. With that said, his lack of size and length limits his ability to defend taller tight ends who can simply win at the catch point.
I think that's more of an assumption, in my opinion, right there.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a couple of highlights in that reel there that we had where he
hands up at least.
He got up and knocked the ball away. Perhaps his best skill is his blitzing ability, as he knows how to time the snap to get home with speed and a variety of rush moves, which includes an impressive spin move and stuff like that.
With Anthony here, he says put him on linebacker blitz plays. I agree with that to a point, but the dude can play the run very well. So, I mean, that opens that up on first and second down as well there. So,
yeah,
not only can he blitz well, but he plays the run really well.
Yeah, I think that's probably how he's going to be used at the beginning. Hey, Reggie's here.
On first and second down.
No, but, as much as we know Flores likes to blitz, and not that Hicks can't blitz because he did a good job of it last year too, but I think they'll rotate Pace in there.
Between Hicks and Smith might be the longest in the tooth on our team at this point.
Yeah.
So, but you need veteran leadership. You can't go in with all young guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. But to put a bow on Pace here, last thing Weissman says, overall Pace has everything you want in an inside linebacker. He has instincts, toughness, and a good burst speed. He just lacks the requisite size and length to excel in the NFL.
Exactly. That's an assumption. That's what gives these guys fuel to their fire, man. And they want to prove their worth. There's nothing worse than a pissed off little man.
Mm-hmm. Great hands. Looks like almost like a hybrid. Yeah, I think he's a little big to be playing safety, but that in that linebacker spot in the inside, I think this kid could definitely cause some serious damage when we get him in. Reggie, any word on the Tampa game? Oh, you and Brunswick are going to the
Saints game.
Saints game, huh? All right. Here, let's go back and hit. I want to go back and hit that one question that Anthony put in about.
Okay.
Hold on, I got to go back and find it before we move on. He's asking about Ja'Kalen Roy. What's his role? Roy is going to be. I think he's going to rotate in at the.
I think you put him at nose. I mean, he plays really well over the center, but the thing is, I'd rather have the uncertain or be happy with the fact knowing that he can play over center or play, off the edge of the line as well.
And I think that's kind of the thing here. Kiris Tonga's going to at least start as the starter at nose tackle. But I think Roy could probably rotate in on passing downs into the nose position, but he can also kick out to 5-tech or defensive end also.
Speaking of Ken's question here, it leads us right into the next preview guy we got here.
Yep. To answer the question before we start, provided nothing happens with Danielle Hunter, which I don't expect it to, I expect Hunter to be here. He'll be at the one outside linebacker, and then Marcus Davenport will start at the other one.
I look for more Patrick Jones this year as well. I honestly, when you have a younger roster like this, I look at a lot more of a rotation as well in the lineups.
Yeah.
To keep everybody fresh. And, and when you got playmakers at depth positions, there's nothing wrong with that. So It's Tonga time.
Yeah. All right. So since Ken brought up the outside linebacker position, we'll roll into our second of the Meet the Rookies outside linebacker / edge rusher out of Army, Andre Carter.
I think he's the highest played undrafted free agent so far.
What?
I mean, we guaranteed him a lot of money to hold on.
Tonga truck. He's like, I think he's like the second highest in NFL history or whatever. But But anyway, here's the a few highlights from Mr. Carter.
Bank Mertz, and the ball's loose. It's on the deck.
He has a nose for the ball too.
Yep.
Like I said, it's mind-boggling that this kid went undrafted.
Yep. Of course, here now we're looking at number 34 on this one.
To his right, awaiting the snap. Fake handoff, back to throw, pressure coming. They got to him, tripped him up. 3 receivers.
And I believe one of the bigger question marks is his way to bend around the edge, like he just did there. But he did a good job on that play in particular.
No, sorry guys, the video must have not have downloaded all the way. It was supposed to be like a 5-minute video, not a 30-second video. But
okay, well.
Anyway.
This guy's got the goods. Obviously, we got that 30-second clip there. We were hoping for it a little bit longer. But you can go look at a clip on YouTube as easily as well and see what this kid brings to the table. I mean, from what I've seen, I'm excited. And I feel like this kid's going to have some playing time this year, too, on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Coming off the edge.
Yeah. There was a part of the question why he fell. Granted, he played at Army, so level of competition, I think, played a part in it.
True.
And, there again, certain things with his measurables, some people might not have cared for that much, not, too lean and wiry, as Lance said. But anyway, we'll go back to the Draft Network here, and Kyle Krabs this time doing the write-up on Andre Carter II. He says, Andre Carter is an enticing defensive prospect who possesses the raw athleticism to attract the attention of defensive coaches across the league. High motor player, and his presence at West Point is damn near a lock to ensure he'll be a strong figure and presence in an NFL locker room. Carter endured a production regression in 22, but his upward mobility and growth as a player are sure to garner intrigue throughout the process. On the field, Carter is a fairly raw prospect who needs work on building out his pass rush counters and construct more comprehensive plans to defeat opposing tackles. His preferred rush move is a Euro step speed rush that looks to force a missed stun punch on the edge before transitioning to a reduced inside shoulder and then trying to run the arc. And you don't get much more football-y football words than that right there.
You really don't. There was a lot that were mixed in there.
Yeah, I feel like Mike Mayock now.
Cement in his pants or sand in his pants.
Yeah, oily hips.
Yeah.
Carter has some bright flashes of inside counters and quickness to cross the face of blockers who try to jump out and greet him in his wide aligned 2-point stance. Some of his best reps come as a slant defender, either off the edge to squeeze runs off the backside or crash inside across the face of a blocker.
Good for a 3-4, basically.
Yeah, to the play side and uncover in the backfield. These instances allow his linear athleticism to pop and push past lateral contact with overwhelming quickness.
The only thing about having a taller guy is they say it's easier to get underneath him, to get underneath his pad level, to block him out of the play.
But plays a little high probably.
Yep.
But there again, that's something that can be taught.
Yep. Pad level.
Yep.
My pad level wasn't the greatest in high school, to be honest with you, but this isn't about
Carter's going to be really good by year 3. He'll be a stud. He's got the potential to be Reggie. I really think he does.
And in that opinion, that's like almost an Everson Griffin trajectory, because it took him about 3 years to get there, but once he did, he was there.
Well, it's going to be the same thing like a Brian Robeson or
Brian Robeson paid his fucking dues, man. So did Griff, though.
Yeah, a lot of those guys that they started off as, and that's
the Jared Allen era,
right? And that's how a team is supposed to be constructed. You've got guys sitting there learning and waiting in the wings behind your established starters. Everson was behind Jared Allen. Robinson was behind Edwards.
Yep.
And
obviously those two guys were good enough to be starters because that's who took over after they left.
Right. And by doing stuff that way, you stay out of these bad contracts and stuff that we talked about earlier. That
because you develop your own fucking players from within the organization.
Right. Anyway, he said Carter is still a clearly developing talent, however. For his appeal with raw physical tools, he appears guilty of some errant hand placement, ineffective hand power, irregular pad level and leverage, which is what we just talked about, and false steps out of the blocks as a rusher. His play at the point of attack is a phase of his game that will limit him early in his career, as he did not handle pressure or drive blocks with consistent success. Too often got caught with his pads above those of his opponents. Exactly what Brunswick just said.
But when you're that tall, it can be taught, but it's easy to learn, honestly.
Right, and that's the thing. You got to get down without going around like Quasimodo with a hunched over.
From personal experience, that was my hardest thing learning in high school football, was getting my pad level lower.
Mm-hmm.
Being so tall and big like me, it's hard to get low to the ground.
Right. And then they go on. Carter's length is a major advantage, but his punch placement has negated some of the opportunities he has to really stun and dislodge offensive tackle sets. And as a result, too many of his perimeter rushes were stunted as angles steepened. He'll need more power up top and better hinges in the lower half to unlock his full potential. and be a consistent control player at the point of attack.
Those long arms are going to come in handy, though.
Yep. Now, some of that stuff that they're talking about, you can, these guys are going to bulk up when they get in the NFL weight rooms and under the diet plans, working with the trainers and all that other stuff.
I'm like the Kool-Aid man in football pads.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's Macho Man.
Yeah. Carter will use his lengthened arms to get lower by sinking his hips.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have to.
Good football speak there, Reggie.
Yep.
Sink those hips.
Yep.
It's all about the hips. It's all about the hips.
Yeah. Cha, 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 cha. But, I think Flores, again, is a perfect coach to help some of these guys like Pace, like Carter, the young guys in the secondary. We got to remember too, Flores was the linebackers coach in Pittsburgh before he came here. So,
right, and Flores in
that's what
New England was doing a little bit of everything on defense.
Can all this for Carter can be fixed? I think it can too, Ken. A lot of it anyway, and it's going to come, development, experience, working with the professional coaches, building up that upper body strength, getting more beefed up. It might be a slip me an edible. No, I didn't have any edibles, Reggie. I'm in North Dakota. Those are still illegal here. So
August 1st.
Not in North Dakota.
I know, but here, Minnesota.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. These two kids, I'm very excited to see. I think both of them make the roster.
I do too. I think they make the 53.
I think they make the 53, and I think they make a fair amount of contributions to the team this year. Honestly,
they are cornerstones of the future.
Yeah, and even on special teams, you put somebody with like Pace's speed as a gunner or something.
You put Pace next to Asamoah in the interior. 2 years from now, that's going to be a fucking headache for lots of teams in the league.
Is bacon considered an edible in North Dakota? Yes, it is, Oli. Any thoughts on the kicking competition?
I think it's Joseph's to lose.
Probably. Now, I know OTAs this week, as of Tuesday or Wednesday, they were both perfect in that last practice I watched stuff on. They kicked out as far as 51 yards, I think. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in
if Joseph could just start making his extra points, we'd have no issue. We wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If we could talk the NFL into moving the field goals either back to like 35 yards or into 28, we'd probably be fine.
Right. Nah, man, just move the extra points back to the 2-yard line.
Yeah, if Sean isn't starting week 1, he's a bust. I disagree with that, Dave.
And then, like I said there before, I think I see this defense running more 3 safety sets, and that throughout the entire league as well will kind of catch on, I believe, too.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, we got Ward, who is a hybrid already. That he played safety at LSU and a little cornerback as well, but we drafted him as a cornerback. He's going to be playing in that nickel slot role. Again, Bynum is going to be rotating in there as well.
As of right now, Bynum's still the number 1 guy they got practicing with the ones.
But Metellus is making a push, and Sean has been practicing well from everything I've heard.
Singing his praises all off season so far. So
yeah.
Backup quarterback, I believe, will be Mullins to start the year with Hall being that emergency number 3 guy throughout the season.
Yeah. Now that still means we have to keep Jaron Hall on the 53-man roster. So, that's going to take away a position someplace else.
How much are you willing to risk to let Hall go onto the practice squad is basically the question at the end of the day.
Right. And
Somebody-
at this point,
Yeah, come
at this point, we can't answer that question until we see him in training camp and preseason.
right.
You know, he could be our starter in a year. He could be the next Kellen Mond. I don't think he's Kellen Mond. I don't think he's
I
Kellen
have
Mond.
to see with my own eyes before I think, I can make any great assumptions on a professional level about that kid.
Yeah.
The backup to me right now is Mullins' job.
Well, yeah, I think so too. If nothing else, because he has, a season's worth of starting experience, and we know he can go out and win us a game if he needs to.
And I'm not going to bitch about Mullins like I used to bitch about Mannion. So
No, God, no.
Mannion has no business being in this league as a player.
Yep. Now, all that being said, if Hall ends up being the number 2 quarterback, it's because he played well enough to surpass Mullins. It's not because Mullins played like crap.
Exactly. Yep. Good point. I've been hearing that Metellus has been swarming around that defense too. They've been using him more in different sets.
Yeah, this coaching staff likes Metellus.
Yeah. There's a reason they gave him that C towards the end of the year last year.
Yep.
Captain, for his jersey. So.
And Metellus is they're going to roll with 5 safeties this year. I mean, I think all 5 that are there are going to be on Scene, Bynum. Bynum, I think mainly because he can play in that slot as well. Harrison Smith, of course, Ward, and Metellus. I think they're all going to contribute. They're going to rotate these guys in and out. Whoever the starter might be, it's going to depend, but I think they're all going to get significant playing time. And the thing, like Flores said before, when they start asking about this and this, he's like, first question, who are we playing? So there may be a game where Hitman and
get over and over every week. We're going to game plan for each team individually and what they bring to the table.
Yeah.
Instead of running down fucking 32% of the time, right? Yeah.
Right. We could have Hitman and Bynum starting one game. The next game it might be Scene and Hitman, or it might, it all depends on matchups, and that's one thing that
exactly, matchups, 100%.
Yep. So it was going to turn into a hockey game with shifting sets.
Different lines coming in.
Yeah, it's
right in the middle of the play.
Yeah. I don't think that you can do that. I think you have to wait till between plays in the NFL.
I think there was a play this last year where somebody came in from off the sideline and made a tackle. I think it was in the Broncos game this year.
Yeah. Vikings drafted safety out of USC. No, the cornerback out of USC, Mekhi Blackman. The safety was out of LSU. Yeah. So would be prudent to have a Trojan safety.
But that's another safety that we have that can come down and play big nickel as well. And Ward.
Yep. Well, and I honestly, I think Ward, their goal for him is to be the starting nickel.
This could be a great draft class. It really.
And I think we're going to see more out of that class last year that everybody's so up in arms about how terrible it was.
Well, we are, because we're going to have to right now. We're going to have to see what we have.
Well, there's that. I mean, we know Asamoah is going to be a starter. We know that Naylor is playing himself or practicing himself into some more playing time. It's Scene. I'm not calling him a bust. He had a freak injury last year that set him back. It kind of like
the Greenway his rookie year. Came back and had a great career.
Yep. So it's and I think this team is going to go more by the players that deserve to be out there are going to be out there. It's not going to be like Zimmer. Oh, we refuse to play.
Not.
Yeah. Well, even Donatel last year, he didn't play rookies. And I think that's more of that old school coach mentality. Whereas with Flores and O'Connell, you're going to see the best guys put out there
to their strengths. That's such a fucking cliche thing to say for coaches. I'm going to play to my players' strengths. I think, but this year, honestly, I believe we are going to.
They improved the defense, got a lot younger on both sides of the ball.
I think we might be one of the youngest teams in the league this year, honestly. Now we went from being one of the oldest to one of the youngest, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be up there anyway, but anyway, just the quick disclaimer again, you guys are in here. Make sure you like the videos and stuff. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Helping with the metrics. Hey, we got another like there. Thank you. Competition based on results, not expectations. Mr. Bad Vintage. Absolutely. I love that.
It's been the opposite for too long.
Yep. I mean, we all knew when Zimmer was here, it was his guys played whether they were the best players on the team or not.
Zimmer, it's been all expectations, but no results.
Yep. Doc Greenway went out in his rookie season, and on the first play of the preseason, injuries happen. They do. And, that deal with Scene was a freak injury. He was playing special teams and busted his leg. I mean, Stuff happens. People
get injured.
Yep.
Now, if the injuries follow him around for 3 years, then you start bringing up the bust tag.
Mm-hmm. But then again, like we said, you can't grade a draft class after the first year. It takes 2 to 3 years before you can make an honest assessment.
At least, and that's a 3-year span is good for a lot of things in the NFL as far as determining how things are playing out.
Yeah.
Coaching, everything like that. You give 3 years and you see where things go.
Mm-hmm. But did Greenway start next week? Yeah, he did. But again, you're talking 2 different positions as well here too. So,
any more questions, guys? Any more things that you want to hit on?
Yeah, we're coming up on an hour here, so we've gone through pretty much everything we got. But if you guys have anything else you want to hit quick, we can definitely do so. If not, again, make sure you like and subscribe out there. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, Reggie, David, Ken, Ole, Doc, Mr. Bad Vintage, Worthless Opinion, Justin, all you guys, Anthony, Mike Capon joined us in. Hey, welcome. But with that, again, thank you, everybody. If you're out and about this weekend, make sure you take us with. It'll be on replay on the YouTube channel or the audio casts. Beyond that, that is all I have.
Mike, if you want to hear about Hunter after the show is over, go back. We hit on Hunter earlier on in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, make sure next week, Rhino's Rants again will be on Monday. Brunswick's Best to be looking at number 12 on Wednesday. And then, of course, we'll have the normal studio show again Friday at 6 p.m. So with that, why don't you take us home, Lance?
It doesn't get talked about enough how grateful we should be for having somebody like the Wilfs in their class run this organization. This week, and I'm going to give you an example of this because Rick Spielman had went on talking about how he had lost all of his game balls to Hurricane Ian. Well, the Wilfs this week went out of their way to send Rick all the game balls that he lost in that in the tragedy that was Hurricane Ian. The class that this organization is led by does not get talked about enough, and I am so grateful that we have owners like the Wilfs here in Minnesota. And it's about goddamn time that we bring the state of Minnesota a Super Bowl Lombardi trophy.
Absolutely.
It's been too damn long. These Minnesota fans that have spent their entire lives cheering for this team or the Twins or the Wild or the Timberwolves or what have you, we deserve to get a championship. So let's get it done. Any one of those teams in the state of Minnesota, I'm calling you guys all out right now. Go out and get us fans a fucking trophy. And with that being said, we'll see you next Friday.
All right. You guys have a good weekend. We will see you on Monday for Rhino's Rants.